What's going on, everyone? Thank you all for watching my video today. And also, Happy New Year, as of course today's the first day of 2022. And with that in mind, I thought what better way than to kick off the new year than to give out my December NBA awards ballot. I'll be doing this at the end of every month during the regular season until the end of the season when I give out my final predictions for the awards, the MVP, the All NBA teams, etc. So looking back, comparing it to my November award ballot at the end of that month, not a lot has changed. It's still relatively early in this NBA season. A few teams, the Bucks, for example, the reigning champs. Not as many people on their team are dealing with COVID as much as early in the season. They've been playing a lot better, but of course, league wide, a lot more COVID cases have been affecting teams. A lot of guys, Lance Stevenson, Joe Johnson, Mario Chalmers, all kinds of guys are making comebacks because of this renewed sickness around the league. But with that in mind, the major awards haven't been impacted that much despite that. So getting right into it, taking a look at my current MVP pick. At the first month of the season through October and November, I had Stephen Curry of the Warriors. Of course, the Warriors were looking like the best team in the league, and they still are per se, but not quite as dominant as they were the first few months of the season. And I still have Curry as a close second in the MVP race. And I kind of mentioned this in November. This looks like it's going to be a very close two-man race between Curry and the Nets' Kevin Durant, who I actually now have as the current favorite to win his second career MVP. Now, Brooklyn just lost to the Sixers, which made my night the other night. That was a huge win for the Sixers. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey looked phenomenal. But with that being said, Kevin Durant has put this Nets team on his back this year. He's currently the NBA league leader in points per game, close to 29 a game, which is his highest in quite a few years, probably since his last season in Oklahoma City, if I'm not mistaken. He's also playing 37 minutes a game, which is his most since his MVP campaign in 2014 with the Thunder, his first MVP campaign. And the Nets, they didn't have Kyrie Irving. James Harden was dealing with both COVID for a bit, and also he just was playing. He looked out of shape. He's been awesome lately, but for a while there to start the season, he wasn't giving you much. And for the most part, this Nets team, the rest of that team has been either very inconsistent or pretty much a letdown. Guys like Paul Millsap, who I thought was going to be a really important role player for this team, he barely plays. Bruce Brown is not the guy he was last year. He doesn't have the same role. Joe Harris hasn't been quite as reliable, and of course, as I mentioned, James Harden as well wasn't quite the reliable superstar until recent weeks. I think Durant has really put the Nets on his back this season, as I mentioned, and while Curry is having a stupendous season, and he might still wind up winning the award, as of right now, I just think KD has done more with less for this number one seed Nets team. They fought off the Bulls, who are right on their tail for that one seed, but at the end of the day, once Kyrie Irving comes back, as it seems he's strangely going to, the Nets told him, you're not playing if you're not going to be vaccinated, but now they're kind of letting him come back. Now, some people think it might be to build his trade value, but that's another topic for another day. But nonetheless, I think if Kyrie starts playing consistently, if Harden plays better, Durant is going to be just like when he was on Golden State. He won't have the case because he'll have great teammates to kind of steal a little bit of the limelight from him. But for now, I think he's the clear MVP favorite due to what he's been able to accomplish with lackluster teammates for the most part. Now, moving on to the Rookie of the Year, my pick has not changed, even though he did miss a decent chunk of time. That's Cleveland Cavaliers' Evan Mobley, who has been phenomenal on both sides of the court this year. And just like last month, Scotty Barnes still a close second. He's been a revelation for the Raptors. But the matter of the fact is, Mobley and him they might have similar numbers per se when you look at the basic stats of points, rebounds, assists, all that stuff, minutes per game, etc., etc. They've been afforded similar opportunities, but what Cleveland has become in such a short time. I mean, Mobley was just drafted this year. He's only been on the team less than 3 months, and he's not quite the best player in the team. I think that's reserved for Darius Garland, who I'm going to get to in a minute here in the most improved race. But what Cleveland's been able to do, especially defensively, with Mobley being the chief anchor of that defense, has been insane. It's probably one of the best defensive rookie seasons I can remember. I mean, Thibault, of course, is up there as well, but he was not afforded the minutes or the opportunity Mobley has, and he's been coming on as an offensive player lately as well. He's only putting up 13 points about that on the season, But since he came back from the injury, he's been showing a lot more spurts of offensive brilliance. I think he had 25 points the other night in a Cleveland win. They're currently the fifth seed, maybe the fourth seed. I don't remember that off the top of my head, but they're ahead of teams like the Sixers, the Hawks, the Celtics, teams people thought would be much better than the Cavs. And, he's making this thing with Jared Allen, who's also, Mobley figured to be a center. He's kind of playing power forward right now. Doesn't shoot a ton of threes, so he's not really a traditional power forward in today's NBA. But the way him and Allen have somehow managed to make plus Laurie Markkinen sometimes playing the three, this three-man, big-man unit has really complemented each other really well. Allen's also been awesome this year. Not quite as good as Mobley, but he's been great. But I think Mobley, just the way he's helped transform this Cleveland team so fast, has to make him the easy favorite for Rookie of the Year right now. And I don't think it's close. Now, moving on to Defensive Player of the Year, something Mobley, he's certainly on the discussion for Defensive Player of the Year, but, if he's going to keep playing forward, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility he makes maybe second team all defense if Cleveland keeps this up. But nonetheless, my current Defensive Player of the Year pick is still the same guy I had last month as well, Draymond Green of the Warriors. He's having, Draymond's always a good defender. We know that. We know his reputation. That's primarily what's going to get him into the Hall of Fame someday. But this year, no Klay Thompson, obviously no Kevin Durant. He's been gone for a few years now. But this Warriors team is back to being the best team in the NBA, or very close to it. You can debate Phoenix, Brooklyn, whatever you want to say. I think it's the Warriors due to their depth. But Draymond, he still is guarding the best player every night. He's still getting a lot of rebounds for a guy who's only, 6'6", 6'7", at the power forward spot. He's still being that undersized 5 in crunch time, which, I know we're going on year 7, year 8 of that role for him, but it's still an incredible feat. No other player in the NBA could come close to being the level of a small ball 5 defender that he is. Guys like PJ Tucker have tried their hand in that as well, and they've been good at it. But Draymond, he kind of reinvented the wheel in the NBA for what a center could be, and he just continues to perfect that this year. Mikal Bridges on Phoenix, another defensive ace. As I mentioned last month, he's still in the race. Suns are another team with a really good defense. Giannis, of course, continues to be a very versatile two-way threat, and I guess I have to mention Rudy Gobert once again as well, even though when it comes playoff time, we know damn well he's not going to be able to be the defender he is in the regular season, but I guess I wouldn't be doing my responsibility if I didn't mention him. But I got Draymond as Defensive Player of the Year right now. Now, moving on to what easily is my favorite award right now to look at. And I honestly am not that confident in my pick, not because I don't think this guy's having a great season, but because there's so many options. It's the most improved race this current season. It's the best most improved player race I can remember in a while. I still got DeJounte Murray as my pick because the way that he's just transformed into a really lethal offensive player. And I always thought he was going to have a good career. He made second team all defense, maybe in first team. I think it was second team, though. In his second year in the league, only playing 21 minutes a game. That's only Matisse Thybulle has done stuff like that. But the way, he's getting assists off the charts now. He's close to 9 assists. He's a walk-in triple-double threat, which, guys like Russell Westbrook, comically have kind of made the triple-double not what it used to be. And it's certainly the case that a triple-double, like Tobias Harris had a terrible triple-double the other night. But when you're consistently giving your team 19 points, 8 rebounds, and close to 9 assists a game, that's a real achievement. And unlike Westbrook, Murray can make some of his threes. I think it's his best 3-point percentage shooting season of his career. But real fast, he's my choice. But I'm just gonna read you some of the other guys that you could argue for this. DeMar DeRozan, who has gone up a level with the Bulls. He's easily going to make an All-NBA team if you ask me at the forward spot. He's playing power forward in crunch time. Career high, 36% three-point shooter, albeit on few attempts, but he's always been on few attempts, and he's always made less than 30% of his threes for the most part. He's really improved on that. His fourth quarter shooting has been phenomenal. Darius Garland, who's very close to taking over as the favorite for this award from Murray. He's the primary creator on that Cleveland team, close to 20 points a game. He's not quite a great defender the way Mobley was, but he's certainly a good defensive player for his point guard spot. Now I'm interested to see what he does with both Colin Sexton and Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio, who was having a very good season off the bench for Cleveland. I'm interested to see what Garland can do as the primary guard. Well, he already was a primary guard, the only guard that Cleveland can really rely on. down the stretch of the season here. And if he keeps going, he might. He's already close to taking over for Murray, but he might take over for me. And I gotta mention my guy Maxey, who's 36% from three. He just had a killer night. I would say, he had the 39-point game in the pandemic game last year, but like that Nets game, if you watched it, was 7 rebound. Like he was making threes. I think it was the best game of his career, and he just keeps getting better. And I'm not sure if he's not an all-star yet. I'm not sure what his final stats on this season will be, but being at the age he is, already showing this much improvement, stepping into a starting point guard role when a lot of people didn't even consider him a point guard to begin with. I think it's really impressive, and he certainly deserves some consideration, but I don't think he has made the leaps and bounds of some other people like Murray, for example. And real fast, just Miles Bridges, he's become a really primary scorer for Charlotte. His 3-point percentage is way down, which continues to be my reason for not giving him the award, but at the same time, he has proven to be a reliable scoring forward for Charlotte. Jordan Poole, who's elevated into a starting role for Golden State. And honestly, like, when Clay comes back, like, you want to get Clay get in a rhythm. You don't want to not play Clay. You want to bring Clay off the bench. But is there a world where Golden State maybe just says, screw it, we're starting Draymond center, we're starting Wiggins at the 4, Clay will be the 3, we're keeping Jordan Poole in the starting lineup. Now, on the flip side, you could turn Poole into a super 6-man, but that bench unit is already so deep that I don't think they need to put Poole on the bench to make the team better. They already got guys like Damian Lee, Gary Payton doing their job in the backcourt off the bench. Tyler Hero is putting up 20 a game. So is Cole Anthony. They've made leaps and bounds of improvement, but I still got to give it to DeJounte Murray. Okay, now that I'm done talking about all of these most improved guys, I'm going to stick with one of the people I just mentioned. Tyler Hero is the easy favorite for 6-man of the year. Miami is the fourth seed in the East, behind Milwaukee and Chicago and Brooklyn. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have missed a lot of games. The Heat bench wasn't supposed to be so great. They've actually been a lot better than I thought. And, there's other guys doing really good jobs, but easily Tyler Hero is the key to that Heat bench. He's scoring 20 a game, shooting the lights out, playing in crunch time a lot of the time for that Heat team. He's become a better shooter than Duncan Robinson this year. Duncan Robinson's percentages are way down so far this year. We'll see if he can get back on track, getting a hot streak. But Hero, anytime you see a guy coming off the bench playing 30 minutes, averaging 20 points, he's a really important part of his team. And really the only reason he doesn't start is because Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler are just they together. That's such a good combination. You could argue that he should start over Duncan Robinson because he pretty much does what Duncan Robinson's supposed to do, but better, and he can do more things. He can handle the ball better. But right now, the Heat have settled into a really nice lineup with PJ Tucker and Duncan as the starters. I think Hero should remain on the bench, and he should be the easy favorite for 6-man of the year. Real fast, I'll mention LaMarcus Aldridge for Brooklyn, who, coming off that heart condition, we thought he was going to retire, but he's actually been really important for the Nets off the bench as the backup center. He's close to 15 a game, shooting really efficiently. And also Alex Caruso, who should probably be in the consideration for first team all defense at the guard position. He finishes in the crunch time as one of the guards with Lonzo Ball, but he does come off the bench. They start Javonte Green at the 4, but Caruso's easily having the best year of his career, and he should be in the conversation for 6-man. And finally, with Coach of the Year, keeping with the Bulls, I still got to give Billy Donovan the Coach of the Year. To lose Patrick Williams 4 games in this season, he was supposed to be your breakout wing defender. And also Nikola Vucevic, he's been playing a lot better lately, but starting out the year really cold. The way Donovan has just made this Bulls team not only a lethal offensive team, but a really respectable defensive team. Caruso and Lonzo together, as I just mentioned, have been fantastic. Lonzo's playing 35 minutes a game. He's a great creator for that team. DeRozan's he's heated some of his playmaking duties over to Lonzo. DeRozan playing at the 4. DeRozan leveling up into the fourth quarter shot maker he's become this year. Levine continues to be lethal. And the Bulls bench, you've got guys like Tony Bradley, who was on the Sixers last year. Ayo Dosunmu, who, of course, he was awesome at Illinois, but he's given way more as a rookie than a lot of people thought. Javonte Green, as I mentioned, as the starting 4, has been a good energy guy for them. And, they're hoping that Kobe White can get healthy, shake off some rust, and start making some shots, and he could become a really important backup point guard as a scorer for them as well. So Billy Donovan's just the fact that the Bulls are second in the East, ahead of the reigning champion Bucks, ahead of the Sixers, who of course have some problems, although they've been winning lately. Ahead of it, well, Atlanta's way off, but ahead of the Heat. The fact that the Bulls are as good as they are is a testament to how well Billy Donovan's been able to bring this group together. Because some people, some people with, I wasn't one of these people per se, but a lot of people are saying the Bulls look like a fancy team. Like these are guys who, Vucevic, DeRozan, Levine, they don't traditionally play great defense together. Levine and DeRozan usually look for their own shot. They're not necessarily gonna heed to their teammates, but this team is playing great team basketball. I think Billy Donovan is the coach of the year favorite. Although, of course, with Golden State and Phoenix's success, you still got to mention Steve Kerr and Monty Williams. But I think Donovan is the current coach of the year. So thank you all for watching this video. I'm gonna also have another video where in the coming weeks or days, whatever it may be, where I go through my All-Star picks. I'm gonna do that instead of the All-NBA. I think it's be a little redundant to go through the entire All-NBA teams again when it probably hasn't changed that much. I'll do that probably closer to the All-Star break mid-season. But for now, I'm going to give my All-Star picks in a coming video. So thank you all for watching the video. Have a happy new year. And stay tuned for more content.